Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon everyone, and welcome back for some Club 100 action. We're at my favouriteest, bestest track in the whole wide UK. We're at ELLOUGH Park, and I absolutely love this circuit to bits. However, the last time I was here for a Club 100 race, yeah, we kind of got excluded for being underweight, and then we got excluded for being too awesome. So I had a score to settle. And I was here for VPEC a couple of weeks ago, or a month ago, and I was very, very fast. I was also here for SB60 the previous day, which went bangingly well. So I was hyped, I was ready, and it was a live stream. So we've got the Alpha live footage in the top right. I was starting third for this first race, and I knew, right, I've got the inside, I need to be in second, going through turn one, and then I'll take the lead into the hairpin. That was my game plan coming into this. Eyes then on the lights as we get ready to go racing. And away we go. A pretty good start. We're right on the back of Andy Orford, heading towards turn one. We get a little bit of a push. Thanks, Dante. It means Andy ends up going wide, and we take both positions. So through up into the lead of the race we go. A pretty good start. And I thought it was really good, but then I looked behind and I saw, oh crap, it's Dante behind me. That wasn't part of the plan. He was meant to still be in fourth at this point. I don't get the run out of the hairpin, and Dante's able to go up my inside. I've got to leave him room, and I was like, oh, damn. So at this point, I thought, okay, right, I'm behind Dante. Let me just push him along. Let me work with him. There's no point battling. I want to try to pull away from everyone else, because I knew Rihanna Percox was also in this race, and she's very quick. But Dante had other ideas. Dante was like, I know Yusuf. Yusuf will send it if he gets the opportunity. And to be fair, my guy's not really wrong, but this time I was like, you know what, I want to push him, and I was like, oh, for God's sake, Dante, why are you defending? I get a good run through turn one, but yeah, I'll be honest, and I'd like to think I'm always honest about this. I didn't quite have the cart on me for this race, but I didn't really think about that at the time. To be honest, at the time I was just thinking, I'm driving so badly, what is wrong with me? But unlike in previous races, I didn't start trying to drive harder. I just drove to the best that I could at the time, and I could see Dante pulling away a bit, but we gain on him absolutely massively downhill because he misses the apex. And at this point I was thinking, you know what, I could still catch him. Just get my head down, put in the laps, and see what happens, because the second place would still be a very, very, very good result. Having started this race from third, I'd take a second place. This was my fastest lap of the race, a 51.1, which is probably my slowest lap of the entire weekend. Which just goes to show how much I was struggling in this particular race. Again, we're closing up to Dante through a couple of the corners, but I think this car was just really, really struggling with bottom end. The handling felt okay. Nothing too shambolic about that. But I think it was one of those things where I was losing a bit of time. And Dante, at the end of this race, he actually came in and swapped his car because he wasn't happy with it. So I was struggling to keep up with Dante, who was also on a bad car, and you'll see a little bit later, a few of the places where I was visibly losing time. But again, I was just trying to get my head down. I knew Dante wasn't too far up the road. If I put in a good lap or so, I could try to close in. And I wasn't really looking at anyone behind me. I thought, okay, it's probably just me and Dante. We're pulling away from everyone else. And little did I know, as you can see in the picture-in-picture, Chris Powell was slowly but surely, actually, not slowly but surely, very quickly closing in. And it meant that I was going to have to defend for second place. But again, at this point in the race, I did not know that. Again, we catch up to Dante going into that downhill right-hander, and all you can do at this point is just keep on putting in the laps. Don't make any mistakes. Keep on putting in the laps. But this is the point where Chris Powell has now well and truly caught up to me, and he's just set the fastest lap of the race in the process as well. Again, I didn't know this at the time, so I was just getting my head down thinking I'll just put in the best possible laps that I can and try to close Dante back in. That's all I was thinking about. But then heading into the hairpin here, Chris Powell comes up my inside. So we get a very nice switchback. We see him coming, and then we go for the switchback. We're then up the inside into the left-hander. We reclaim the position, and at this point I realized, okay, Dante's gone. I just have to defend for second place because I'm no longer going to catch Dante. but I can hold on to second. But for now, every now and then, if I come through a corner, there I messed that up. So I knew, okay, I've got a bad run, I now have to defend. All I was going to do, I was just going to keep on putting in the laps, but if I made mistakes, I would defend it. So I made a mistake there, I knew I was compromised through the final corner, so I'm going to go defensive on the run into turn 1. Chris Bowell's going to look to the outside, I'm going to take my line, but Chris Powell's got a better run, so he's going to go up the inside. I know he's going to overshoot it, so I get a beautiful switchback up the inside through the second part of the double right-hander to reclaim the position. And at this point, I was just thinking, okay, this is an absolutely mega battle. I know Chris wasn't very happy after the race because he thought I should have worked with him, but my point is, if you want to work together, why do I have to work with you? You can work with me. You didn't have to try to overtake me. You could have kept pushing me along. I mean, I understand the idea of, you know, I want to get my head down, get past, try to hunt Dante, but at the same time, it's a race. So I feel like I can defend if I want to, and this was one of the best battles I've had in Club 100. So I go defensive. I know Chris is going to send it up the inside, so I let him go, and I go for the switchback, and we absolutely nail the switchback. But sadly, someone gets a switchback on us. So Justin Draper goes through on the inside, and Tommy Lee goes through as well, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake. I thought about sending it up the inside of Tommy. I decided against it. As we come through the right-hander, look at how quickly Tommy just bolts off from us. He gains about a cart length nearly on the exit of the corner, and that's kind of what I look back when I was editing this video together. I was like, yeah, okay, that's my validation for this race. But again, at the time, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just thinking, why can't I keep up with these two? What is wrong with me? Why am I driving so badly? But I didn't then try to push the kart further, which is something I would have done in previous races. This time I just thought, I'm going to get my head down. I'm just going to do the best that I can, right? And at this point I thought I should be in second, or at worst third. But I'm in fourth. They might get penalties. Again, just hook the laps together. Don't make any more mistakes, and see if we can try to close in. If they battle, that might give me an opportunity to close back in. I missed the apex for the hairpin, so a nice little mistake from myself as we go through one of the best parts of the circuit. This fast left into the right, use all of the curb over the crest, and then straight on to the brakes. And still, I wouldn't say I'm within striking distance, but I'm not that far behind. And then heading into this right-hander, again, we're just not quite hooking the curb quite as well as I would like. Into the left-hander, Chris Powell sends it up the inside. Really nice, clean move from him. So now I'm thinking, okay, get in the slipstream. We're in the slipstream. I'm thinking, can I go to the inside? I'm just not quite getting the drive. So I say, you know what, Chris is probably going to outbrake himself. I'll go for the switchback, which is exactly what ends up happening. And now I can go up the inside. Chris is going to try to hang it around the outside. So I'm just going to make sure that I carry enough speed to get clear. A little look over my shoulder, as you saw in the picture-in-picture. So I know that I'm far enough ahead going into the hairpin that he can't come back at me. And we are on the last lap of the race, which I didn't even realize. So at this point I was just thinking, okay, 3 places to overtake. He hasn't overtaken me there. 2 places to overtake. I had a little look over my shoulder. I saw that there was a gap, so he'd have to do an almighty send, and he didn't. So I come through this right-hander, I have a look over my shoulder. I know that Chris is alongside, so I go very slow into this left-hander so that he can't get the switchback on me, and he's left with nowhere to go. Nice tight line to the start-finish line, and we finished the first race, our first sprint race of the season, in 4th. Having started in 3rd, we lost the place. It's not the worst, but it was an okay job. Heading into Heat 2, though, I got given a very good idea by Miles Reitman. He said, for the videos, why don't I commentate on it instead of just talking about it? So, here we go then, guys. We'll do a good old-fashioned Yusuf Bin Sahel commentary. Do a bit of the vocal warm-ups. Okay. Vocal warm-up's done. Heat number 7 of ELLOUGH Park Sprint Championship about to get underway. Yusuf Bin Sahel starting this race from down in 9th. It's green flag, and away we go. Bin Sahel's looking to the center of the circuit. He's getting really scrappy as they head through turn 1. Dave Cottrell gets a very good run on the exit. Bin Sahel's looking to the inside, but 3 karts go streaming around the outside. Bin Sahel, they're able to just about squeeze through on Steph Theodorou, and again, really muscly as Bin Sahel tries to cover off the inside, heading into the hairpin, but he just can't get the traction out of the hairpin, and that is another 1 or 2 positions lost. Bin Sahel dropping down outside of the top 10, but here he comes up the inside. But Mr. White Suit goes sideways. Bin Sahel has to back out, and that is, well, what could have been an easy overtake down the gutter. So through the hairpin as the drivers make their way through the final corner to start lap number 2, and well, after the first heat of the day did not go the way that Bin Sahel would have wanted, so for heat number 2, he was certainly hoping to gain a few positions, but instead he's come out of the opening lap having lost 3 places. A good exit. Bin Sahel looking to the inside, but he just doesn't get the drive, has to back out of the move, and thankfully that didn't end too nastily for any parties involved. Now Bin Sahel too far back to go for the send into the hairpin as someone has a little bit of a cheeky contact with a Tycoon. I believe that was Harrison Earl in the number 48 car, but Bin Sahel is closing in now. It's got to be a send, heading down the hill, but again, just too far back, has a little sniff, has a little gander at an opportunity, but this has to be it now. Nice and late on the brakes, up the inside into the hairpin, and 1 position gained, and now the start to climb up the order. A bit of contact, I think, heading into the final corner, because the number 8 of Milky Cereal does indeed run wide, and Harrison Earl having a little sniff up the inside. Is he going to go for the move? It's a bit sketchy between the pair of them. This is really going to allow Bin Sahel to close in. He's going to go up the inside, following Harrison Earl through. Gives Earl a little helping hand through the double right-hander, following through. And now can he go up the inside into the hairpin? No, he's just going to sit behind. We'll try to get the run, but that is anything but getting a good run. Heading on to the back straight through the flat left-hander. They go, and now over the crest into the downhill crook, and we've seen Bin Sahel going for moves into the upcoming hairpin before. Has he quite got the run? No, he hasn't. And as they say, patience is a virtue. Too far back to go for a send into the final corner. You can see Bin Sahel looking for that wide sweeping line into that last corner to get the run, but again, he just can't keep up in the slipstream. Earl pulling away down the start-finish straight. A good run though. Earl goes wide. Bin Sahel pulling alongside, but again, Earl's just got the legs on him heading down the straight, but he does leave the door open. He doesn't want to battle this too hard, and Bin Sahel, as we head through lap number 4, is in 7th position. It's taken him 4 laps, and he has only gained 2 places. A bit of a gap now to the next trio of karts up ahead, and we'll see how quickly he can bring that deficit down as they head once again into the crook. And visibly you can see the amount of time that has been gained heading on to this straight into the hairpin, super late on the brakes, and that gap, that deficit has been more than half over this half a lap. Bin Sahel is starting to find a rhythm, and he is starting to find some pace again in the slipstream, but again he's just losing time on the straights. Well, I know Bin Sahel's been eating a bit recently, but I didn't realize he had become a completely fat bastard, because he is a heavy boy up the inside into the double right-hander. He makes the move work, and that is 1 more position gain. Many more, though, to come. That's Dave Cottrell in 4th place, who has started to break away, starting to close down the leading trio of karts, and Bin Sahel now has to start thinking, okay, where is he going to find a move through? And I believe that is Rana Menon in 5th position. Rana, though, running very wide. Well, actually taking too much curb. That spits him out wide. And Bin Sahel is right on the back of Menon as they head through the hairpin. The gap's open into the final corner, but Bin Sahel is instead going to sit behind. He gets a beautiful run heading onto the back straight. He's closing in, but again, this is where his fat belly stops him from really closing in. He sends it up the inside, almost absolutely twats into one of the cones, but I think Colin narrowly escapes death, and Bin Sahel is now up into 5th place. He's made quick work heading up through the field after a rather disastrous opening couple of laps, and he can see the top 4 up ahead. They are starting to battle, but the question is, will he be able to close in the remaining 2 and a bit laps? So actually about 3 and a bit laps. Cottrell makes a mistake, so he's fallen back from the leading 3, who Bin Sahel is really going to be hoping start fighting. That's completely sideways on the brakes, down into the left, into the right hairpin, but he does get the kart stopped as we have a little bit of a visual issue, and this is the fastest lap of the race then, coming in for Bin Sahel as he hunts down the top 4. How do I know that while I'm live commentating? Absolutely no idea whatsoever. Into the double right-hander then. Once again, this is where Bin Sahel has been super quick all weekend long through those opening sequence of corners, and he can now really smell that leading quartet of cars a little bit wide through the hairpin, but he's going to be starting to get a taste of the slipstream as they head over the crest and back down the hill, downhill braking into the crook, again massively closing in under brakes, and Bin Sahel is well and truly a part of this four-way battle for the lead, a five-way battle if you will. A good run through the right hairpin, the door is open, and Bin Sahel will send it up the inside, wasting no time whatsoever. He knows that he's running out of laps, he's running out of corners, and he cannot waste a single moment in his clamber, his challenge to work his way up through the field. There it is, first lap of the race for Yusuf Bin Sahel, heading into the double right-hander again. This is where Bin Sahel is being quick, and we can see how much he's closing in onto Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee, who was able to best Bin Sahel in heat number 4 of the day. Will he be able to do it again? Current pace-wise, it does look like Bin Sahel has a serious upper hand over Tommy Lee. A good run then through the right-hander. Surely Bin Sahel has to send it up the inside, but he's just fallen too far back, heading down the hill, so he's going to have to slot behind. He misses the apex as well onto the back straight at cart length behind. Once again, slots in behind Tommy Lee, heading through the right-hander, but he's close and he loves this overtaking opportunity. Up the inside into the final corner and up into third place, but only one lap remaining. Bin Sahel in third. He was in seventh just a couple of laps to go, but the charge is well and truly starting. Once again, a good run through turn 1. Justin Draper, a little look over his shoulder, and he'll see Bin Sahel well and truly closing in. Really nice run. Bin Sahel's going to look for the inside. Draper, though, going to defend. Bin Sahel has to go to the outside. Looks for the switchback. Gets the switchback, but now loses the drive because he's fat. However, he's going to be able to squeeze his way up the inside nonetheless. And now with 4 corners remaining, can he close in to the race leader? It's a good run onto the back straight, but there's only 2 corners remaining. Surely Bin Sahel is too far back. It's late on the brakes, but he misses the apex. They both missed the apex. Bin Sahel has a think about going up the inside, but he has to back out of the move. And you can see visibly Bin Sahel is absolutely livid. He knows he should have had this race win, and he has absolutely bottled it. Because as we know, Bin Sahel is a massive choke artist. So there we go. That was my attempt at commentating my own race. A little bit sketchy, having to do that after commentating a race and then going full out by myself. Was interesting. But to be honest, I think that was probably one of the best races I've ever done. The kart was, I don't think it was bad on bottom end, but mid end, it was really struggling. I got some runs and then just fell back. At the time, I didn't realize. It was just when I was watching this footage back, I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. But here we are for heat number 3. So we've had a 4th, we've had a 2nd, final heat of the day, heat number 10. We're starting in 10th place. We've got Murtaza Hassan up ahead. Jack O'Neill's in this race. Harrison Kirkham is alongside us. It is not an easy heat. It's going to be quite a difficult one. So let's see how we can do. We are green and we are racing at ELLOUGH Park once more. I'm going to look straight to the outside. After what happened in the previous heat where someone went 2 miles an hour on the inside, I was like, I ain't doing that no more. So I'm just going to go straight to the outside, do this double right-handed. There's a bit of contact. I know it's very dangerous to be on the outside. I'll make sure that no one can squeeze me wide. These 3 are 3 abreast, so I'm thinking, okay, where do I want to go? Who do I want to push along? So I'm going to push Mr. Black and Orange Suit, but I don't gain any positions. What a shame. But I'm already starting to think, where am I going to make my moves? I want to do one over here, but I just lost too much time as I tried to lift off to get the switchback out of the corner, but we're going to send it up the inside anyway into the hairpin. So many places you can overtake here at ELLOUGH Park. Pretty much every single corner is an overtaking opportunity. And now I'm just thinking, right, I'm not really sure where I was on the field. I was just thinking, right, there's loads of drivers in front of me that I need to catch. We get a good run. I'm going to pull alongside Joe Craddock, who then does this. He just turns into me and hits me. And I was thinking, oh, okay, we can be alongside each other. And, you can hit me. Fair enough. How do you like this, Sonny Jim? We send it up the inside of him through the corner. And then Joe decides to absolutely yeet the tyre barriers, as you saw in the picture. So maybe my guy just likes tires. Anyway, we're closing in. This guy goes a bit sideways. I say, well, if you're going to go sideways, I'm going to side up your I don't know. I'm going to go up the inside. I'm going to get in a position, and now I'm going to focus on trying to catch up the next group of drivers. as Harrison Kirkham has a very nice send up the inside into the final corner. That means that this drive is compromised. I get a really nice run, and I'm thinking, right, up the inside we go into turn 1, and there we go for the move. We missed the apex by a tiny bit, but we're through, and we're on the back of Harrison Kirkham, which is important because I don't want to let him get away. And Jack O'Neill still isn't leading this race. He is in second, which gave me a bit of hope. That guy has a moment. He absolutely yeets Harrison. I'm able to avoid it, but I end up losing a position as well. Thankfully, Harrison was okay, because I thought that was going to end really badly. But I was also annoyed. I was like, oh my god, I've lost a position now. Can I go up the inside? Absolutely. Hell yeah. That was from a way back and a half, but we managed to get on the brakes. We managed to get the kart stopped. Jack O'Neill's at the front of the field, and we've caught up to this group of karts, so we're going to go up the inside into this corner. That guy turns in a little bit, and it means I lose a position, and I was like, oh, for God's sake. I've overtaken this guy twice already, and now I have to overtake him a third time, so we just get a really nice run through turn 1. That means we're able to be alongside, heading into the double right-hander, and up the inside we go to get a very nice overtake. And now I'm thinking, right, okay, I couldn't get you on the inside last time, I'll do you this time on the inside. He does turn into me a little bit, but I don't really care because I'm on the inside, so he just compromises his own exit by a little bit, and now we are into 5th place. So I'm thinking, right, where am I going to get the next overtake? I want to get a good run through this right-hander, which is exactly what we do. We're right on the back of Mr. CRG. I know the gap's going to open, so up the inside I go into the hairpin, and now we're in 4th place, making quick work up through the field, making sure we get a good run through the left-hander. To be fair, that time round it wasn't the best of runs, and I'm thinking, okay, let's hunt down Mortaza Hassan, see what we can do. Good run through the opening corner. We're in the slipstream. We're closing in as we head into the double right hand, and we just carry so much more speed than everyone into that corner. A really good exit as well. I know the inside's going to open up, so I go up the inside as well. Get the move done. Mortaza, though, does avoid the tyre barriers, thankfully. And we are up into 3rd place. 2 more positions to go, and at this point I was thinking, okay, we probably can't catch Jack O'Neill because he's gone at this point, and he's got clean air. I get a really nice run this time as Mr. Ball has a moment. I look to the outside, make him think that he doesn't have to defend, send it up the inside, get the move done, and now I'm thinking, right, all that's left, Jack O'Neill. We've got a few laps left in this race, and I just thought, all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put in the best laps I can. I wasn't expecting to catch Jack, and this was the fastest lap of the day, nearly, until Ed Bars in the final decided to do a 50.535. Perhaps so we can consider it Ed Bars. But otherwise, this was the fastest lap of the day until the A final. So a very good lap. As I say that, I missed the apex, so not a very good lap, but a decent lap. And I was just, you know, head down, see what I can do. At this point, I started realizing that I was catching Jack O'Neill. I run wide through the left-hander. How is this a 50.5? This is such a... I missed the apex. I'm actually so bad at this racing thing. Oh my god, this should have been like a 50.3. I absolutely nailed that apex, and then through the left-hander, a decent run. To be honest, this lap has not been good. Watch my SB60 race. I do a much better lap in that. This one's a 50.7. Let's see if this is better. Oh, that was beautiful. That's how you take turn 1. All right, guys. Turn 1 absolutely nailed. We missed the apex a bit into the double right-hander, but to be honest, it's fine. We carry a lot of speed through the corner, and now we're going to start to get a little bit of a cheeky toe. Nice run through the hairpin, and yeah. At this point, I started to think, you know what? I can beat Jack O'Neill in this, despite having been like nearly 2 seconds behind. This time, I'm not going to miss the apex. I absolutely nailed the apex, but Jack's going to go defensive, and I'm like, right, it's time for us to battle. And despite Jack defending and us battling, this lap was still a 50.7, which goes to show how quick this lap could have been. I've got the slipstream, and I'm going to look to the outside. I'm going to sweep on over to the inside, sweep back on over to the outside, as I just tried to put Jack off, tried to find a way through. And this is where Jack signals me, and he essentially points, and he says that I'm leading the race. And I then thought, what does he mean? Maybe he means that he's got a penalty. So I thought, okay, Jack's got a penalty. I can just sit in second, and there you can see he signals again. And I gave him a thumbs up, and I was like, okay, fine. You're leading, you've got a penalty, that means that I win this race. If I battle with you, I could get a penalty, and then I lose the lead. So all I have to do is just sit behind Jack, and I win. But I would really like to stress this. I had a chance of winning this race, and I had a rocket ship. If you haven't realized, look at how quick my car is here. Look at this. Look at that. I was in a rocket ship, and I was like, I can beat Jack. And being in this situation where you're half a second quicker than someone, a lap, I was like, right, I'm going to go for a move up the inside. Jack leaves us room, and we take the lead on the last lap of the race. Being half a second a lap quicker, and then having to think, oh, right, I'll sit behind for second, is like being in a sweet store as a child, with every single sweet in there free, and being told you can't take anything. It's like being on the motorway and someone's doing 50 and you have to sit behind them, but Jack goes back up my inside, he gets through on me, and he tells me again that I am leading the race. I will be honest, I'm actually glad that Jack overtook me, because he had stopped defending, right? And I don't know who would have won this race on circuit if Jack had continued to battle me properly, but he stopped battling me, he stopped defending, so I think it's only right that I shouldn't have tried to overtake him, but it was just too enticing. I was like, my car's so fast, I really want to overtake, it's not fair. But we ended up winning the race because Mr. O'Neill had a penalty, so all's well that ends well, but lesson learned in the future. Probably don't do that, but I can't stress how hard it was to not overtake when you've got like a car that is so much quicker, and you're like, yeah, I've got to sit behind. But there you go. So that's been our 3 heats. We've had a 4th, we've had a 2nd, and now we've had a 1st. So a pretty good set of results, and those results were actually good enough to get pole for the A final. It was actually mega. So for the first ever time, we've qualified on the front row for the A final. We've actually qualified on pole for the A final. So yeah, my best ever set of heats in Club 100, and I thought I'd include, heading into the final, the outlap. So for the A final, you get a few laps to practice, to get a feel for your car and change your car if it's necessary. And I thought I'd include that because I think it is a very important part of sprints, and for this particular race it was incredibly important. So the first thing I did is I let these guys pass me so that I had a reference, so that I'm going out in my new kart, I've got a reference to see how good or bad my kart is. Because if there's no one around you, it's a lot more difficult to tell. And I wasn't really catching them, but I was falling back, and I was starting to think, maybe I'm driving badly. And a lap or 2 later, so you get 4 laps of practice, Mike Philippou comes out of the pit. So he's on a cold car, and I thought, right, let's see if I can catch Mike. This entire time I was thinking, is the kart bad? But I knew when my deadline was to swap the car. I was just so hesitant, and I thought, right, if I can't catch up to Mike on a fresh car, there's something wrong with my car. So I catch up to him through this right-hander. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this car is alright. But then going into the double right-hander, I'm just finding no front end whatsoever. And I actually fall back from Mike in the process. And I'm like, oh, damn, okay. So then I go through this left-hander and I get a good run. And look at Mike. He just checks out of the corner. And I thought, okay, right, it's the car. I've got to bring it in. I can't stay in this car, because imagine if my first ever time on pole on the A final, I get a bad car, and I knew that it was a bad car, and I do this. So I thought, I just need to bring it in, get a new car, whatever happens, happens. And having now finished this and gone back and looked at the footage, I'm like, yeah, okay, that car was not the bee's knees. It was anything but the bee's knees. And so I get out of the car, I get told, right, this is the new car that you go in, it's at the front of the queue. It's not, selected for me or anything, it is random, it's just whatever car is there. A few other people had already come into the pits to get a new car, which meant I got this one. So out of the pits I go, and I've got a lap to warm up this car. Better than being in the other car, and it was clear track in front of me, so I was like, right, quickly, let's get the car up to pace. And as soon as I went through the first couple of corners, the car just felt so much better. It sounded better, it felt better, and I was in like a happy place. So that brings this little warm-up session to a close. So I come through the field, and this guy then turns into me, not realizing that I'm coming through. Just a little bit unfortunate. And look how quick we are. Oh my god, no one can do these kind of overtakes. This is just incredible. I know I'm making it look easy. I've essentially turned the AI down to 0 difficulty, but no. So yeah, we're at the front, we're in first, the nerves were kicking in. I was thinking, right, here we go, no pressure. My favorite circuit, starting on pole. What can we do? I was trying to think, when do I want to get on the power? I was getting pushed a little bit coming out of this corner, and I thought, okay, let's just go early. Try to catch everyone napping. So very early on to the power, and I decided, right, I'm going to brake very early going into this corner because people are going to push me. So if I brake early and they push me, then I can get a good run. I do have to go defense because Jack O'Neill was starting to get a run on me. I was like, I need to make it that gap as small as possible so Jack O'Neill wouldn't go for the overtake. And I was in first at this point, and I thought, right, all I'm going to do now is get my head down and put in the lap. So with that, I thought I'll go silent on the comms, and you guys can just enjoy me putting in some laps at the front of the field, and just trying to be as consistent as possible. So enjoy.
comfort, as that's a good exit for Ed Bars. Good spot there, Jacob. Will he be down the inside here on the penultimate lap of our A final for round 4? Yes, he will, and he's up into second place. The gap then is 0.7 of a second. What can Ed Bars do? He's got the fastest lap of the race, but Yusuf Bin Sahel, and there is Jack O'Neill coming back at him, and that is definitely not going to allow Ed Bars to push up onto our leader. That is going to give some more breathing room to Yusuf Bin Sahel, who has been talking so much, both on and off air, of how much he likes this circuit. It's about to become his favourite even more so at this rate, because he is at the moment looking good as they squabble over second place, and they've gone. The gloves have come off. They are not planning to try and push up onto the back of Yusuf Bin Sahel here. The last lap board is out for the driver of the number 8 as they battle intensely for second place behind him. Jack O'Neill versus Ed Bars into turn 1. How does that come out? It's Jack O'Neill for now. Lewis Marchant and Greg Smith no longer have a kart between them either. It's just a few tenths of a second for the lead in Class 2 as well. As Murtaza Hassan, I think, has a bit of a buffer to anyone challenging him for the third position in Class 2. Battle for second place overall, though, and in Class 1 goes through the sweepers as O'Neill goes defensive here into the hook. There's fewer opportunities all the time here for Ed Bars. He's going to try here through paddock. He'll try and hold around the outside and have the inside for the last corner. But this man here, Yusuf Bin Sahel, is a winner in Club 100 Senior Sprints Lightweights. Yusuf Bin Sahel is your winner for round 4 of the 2024 Club 100 Sprint Championship. Jack O'Neill.
So there you go. We finally managed to win a Club 100 Sprints round, and to do it at ELLOUGH Park, no less. I will happily take that. It was nerve-wracking, but honestly, the consistency was absolutely incredible. Yeah, it was genuinely something else. So absolutely chuffed to bits with it. I can't really fault my drive. There were a couple of mistakes here and there, but it was just a really good final. It was a really good set of heats as well. So yeah, that's that. But I do have something very cool to show you come the end of this video. I would also like to remind everyone, drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed this and want to see more videos. Here's a nice little bit of footage from that the Club 100 cameras caught of just me celebrating with Dante. Well, actually, I should say Dante and Harrison coming up to congratulate me at the end of the race. Big thanks as well to everyone for giving me congrats as well at the end of the race, both in person at the event and online. It genuinely has meant a lot. But yeah, that brings this this session to a close, and here is a little bit of something extra. Now, come the end of ELLOUGH Park, I got a message from Douglas Smith, who reminded me that last year at Lid, I had made a promise that if I won a sprints race, I would pour milk over myself. I don't know what made me think that was a good idea, but apparently I said that, which is something and a half, and yeah, I have to live by my promises, because if I said I'd do it, I'd do it. Apparently I said it, and Andrew McWilliam and Dante Dillon were also there. So here we go. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, but Andrew, Dante, and Douglas, screw you guys for not telling me this was a terrible idea, and now I'm doing this. I will be honest, it's not completely pure milk, because I don't enjoy the idea of wasting this much glorious milk, so it has been watered down a little bit for effects. But yeah, for some reason I thought this would be a good idea. The last time I did this, I think it was clay pigeon, but I had a helmet on, and that actually kept me dry, which was quite nice. So yeah, I was dry then. But this time, I'm not going to be dry. It's going to be really... Oh, that is actually horrible. I wasn't finished talking. We had a dream. 2, 1. It's not the ice bucket challenge, it's the milk bottle challenge.